I'm getting out of solar. But before I do, I want to show you this idea, and I'll get into why I'm showing you this idea. But first of all, why am I getting out of solar? Well, because the administration is taking me as long as doing the installation itself. Somehow that's going to fix quality assurance when they won't audit. Therefore, they want me to audit by doing administration, which I can lie on, unverified verification documents. So it's not going to do anything. And secondly, it's taking time off the job that I have to put into, look at this mess, I'll get into that, administration. Now, my life is saturated with tying up loose ends with solar from this department. I don't want to go into it. Now, I have no spare time. Literally, this is why I'm getting out of solar. I have no spare time to put that fence in with the neighbour, or that air conditioner in, or to mow the lawns. I can't even do my bloody laundry because I'm jumping on the computer trying to get some job over the line. Now, I'm not getting paid twice for this job. I'm getting paid once. So that's all downtime. I'm getting out of the industry. Now, how's it come to be? Because there's big quality assurance problems in the industry. But why is that so? Well, somehow making installers fit square pegs into round holes seems to be the answer. It's a bit like me getting a Ducati engine and expecting it to bolt straight onto that Suzuki. And literally, that's how ignorant the administration is. Now, let's give you an example. Let's say I've got a typical Australian roof, 800mm apart, tech screws on a tin roof. Now, if I put the rail along there and there, I'm going to breach the cantilever limit of this panel. Okay, all right, I'm going to go landscape. So now, if I go landscape, let's turn it sideways. The dashed line represents the 800mm spacing of the tech screws on the roof, and now I can choose any distance I want along that row of tech screws to satisfy the cantilever limitations. I'll get into this later. And now that is a more difficult job. It's a more expensive job, and it's a more dangerous job because I've got to get a row of, say, end clamps along the first panel, hard up against the gutter, which could be 2 stories high, on the gutter side of a panel that can slide off. So, and somehow I'm expected to do that more dangerously, more expensive, more time consuming because of an engineering inadequacy. So what do we do about it? Well, don't try and make me, the installer, fit a square peg into a round hole. I'll tell you what you do about it, because the last place you want to do any engineering and manufacturing is on a damn roof. That's why IKEA do all that before giving you the flat pack, so you just have to assemble it. Basic Economics 101, come on. So let's have a look at the first problem we're going to fix. These stupid leads. They require me to wire the bloody thing up and deal with this bird's nest of wiring before I've even put the panel down. I've got to have 4 arms, 2 to hold the panel, 2 to deal with this mess. Now normally I'd be clipping these along the edge, not this panel, don't know what you do here, but there'd be a recess here. Let's have a look at a recess. There's one, right there. So I'd be clipping that cable around that recess and dealing with that slack somehow while holding the panel, not having it slide off the roof, in landscape, up against the gutter of a 2-story house. And you know what? It's okay for me to do, but the inspectors won't even get on the roof due to OH&S. They won't even look at it. That's how dangerous this is. A more modern panel is even worse. They put a J-box there and a J-box there with the same leads hanging out of it. In the middle of the bloody panel, not even anywhere near the racking. And they now come in all shapes and sizes. You know, especially more difficult than ever to get that cantilever in the right place. A longer panel is even worse on a roof with 800mm spacing of tech screws. So what should be happening is the administration should be putting incentives to manufacturers to manufacture things that are better and safer to put on. And here's one idea which I'm uploading on the internet on the 26th of September 2022. So therefore no one can patent this idea. It's open to all manufacturers and also to administrators or authorities in the industry to provide incentives for manufacturers to do it, such as give more STCs to people or manufacturers that use these designs and less STCs to those who do not. So we're going to start with this J-box mess and fix it up. Here's a J-box in the corner. Oh, I'm going down this end here. I'm going down this end. A J-box in that corner. A J-box in that corner. This could be integrated into the frame too, by the way. And a J-box in that corner. This panel was probably destroyed by the corner of an adjacent panel while during installation. So you could have an incentive to have rounded corners. Also, no damage to the roof of the customer. That could even be something that's rubberized. It doesn't matter if it decomposes over time because it's only there during installation. So I've added some receptacles there, MC4 receptacles into these junction boxes, 2 a piece into each corner, and put the panel cells in between 2 diagonal junction boxes. Now we're going to put a few plugs in there to block and a few links in here and whatnot. Now let's look at option number 1 here. We've got our positive plug starting there. The panel cells are there, goes to this link, it goes in, these are interconnected, these cables inside the module, maybe in the box section, doesn't matter. Another link there, and finally out to here. Well, if I may interrupt myself for an edit, as you can see I've been a bit busy, but let's look at a different design. Let's not assume that the diodes go from there to there. And we've got the traditional 60 cell pattern here, we end up in this corner. Let's have a look at this. So now we have a plug going there into, well, sorry, this one here, right, not there, and that will come around the corner and plug in there. Now we've got this spare here for perhaps going across into here, into there as the return lead, and this here would then become down there just as a landscape option only on the negative, and you could save costs there, I guess. What other possibilities are there? That goes to there actually, and then not there, get rid of that, and that goes off to here. So we've got all 4 corners again with that design. Let's have a look at what happens if we go diodes all the way from here to here. So we're starting here and we've gone down through here and we're going to end up in here, and forget about this diagonally one here now. So we got it from there to there to there and all the way back to there if you want. Yes, we've got a perimeter around the edge with a conductor to once again get all 4 corners, so that would work as well. There's other variations. I prefer the traditional 60 cell arrangement, back and forth to go from there to there, and then use this one from here to here as a return lead. And because why not spend a few extra bucks? This is the thing, they're trying to be as tight as possible on the panels, and then that means you have to spend more money on cable ties or some other ducting or something to get that return lead back. So they just pass on the buck really. And well, let's have a look at the, I think actually this diagonal design, believe it or not, is the best. Why? Because I mean your return lead, if you're not using this corner for example, let's just say you're linking from there to there, you just go from say that corner to that corner to that corner, and then your return could be the opposite corner. And what that would do is really take out any lightning damage possibility whatsoever, because this is going right across where the cells are back and forth. So whereas this one here, you got all the cells going up and down here, and your return lead would be like a traditional return lead right across one edge. That one there goes right through the guts. So there are pros and cons of the arrangement, but nonetheless all 4 corners should have junction boxes with receptacles. Now those receptacles of course can be mass produced, so much mass production really reduces price, so much so that really it's not much of a cost at the end of the day. So therefore, that's the full VOC of the panel from this corner to that corner. Now this 200mm lead or 250mm lead is all I need, and a little extension lead to go from this panel to the next one, which would be there. And we've got them all, everything's in series. Fantastic. You know what that means? It means that panel can be put in, bolted down before you even connect it with wiring, and there's no mess, no clips, no bird's nest under there, and a lot more safety. Oh, but wait, what about landscape? All right, I want to get from that corner to this corner, because now I want to go diagonally. I don't want to pull a bloody cable under stress across a gap in the bloody rails. There we go, perfect. I put a plug in here, 200mm long. What do we got here? Negative at this end. Okay, that's a negative plug for what it's worth. And about 250mm long, done. Or I want to go to that corner. All right, keep the bridge in there. I go to this corner, pull that bridge out. Now I'm here and I've got my negative plug there, okay? There we go, there we go. All right, well, let's say you want to go, actually I think I'm done. I've done that corner to that corner, that corner to that corner, that corner to that corner. There you go. Except I've accidentally drawn another feature. If this was the first panel going down in the middle of an array, you'd put a little plug going that way and another one going that way, because otherwise that would be coming from the other panel. With these little 250mm long leads, problem solved. I could get the whole job done in any orientation I want, and the whole job will go so smoothly. I just have to go back later after installation and put these plugs in. That represents an internal conductor, by the way. And anything I don't use, I just have dummy plugs. I'm done. Even a moron can work this out. It's pretty basic, isn't it? So what the hell is this here? Oh, let's have a look. That would normally be on the return there, coming off a normal panel. Let's have a look at that. That bit on a standard panel, and in that return, you'd have tabs that you can flip up. See, I've drawn a few extras there. You flip it up like that, so when you put the panel down, it rests against the bottom rail. Or what the hell, why not do a few up here as well? The top rail if you prefer, okay? Or along, if you're doing long edge, let's do it along the long edge. And guess where they are? They're in the areas that you're allowed to install the panel. So your cantilever's worked out. Do you know, we can even mark it on the side like a bicycle seat. You pull the bicycle seat up to the maximum limit, it's marked. You don't have to go and dig up a document with 50 different models of bicycle seats, find out the model number in that documentation and see what the cantilevers are for A, B and C on a generic picture in a 41-page document that's hard to find on the internet, because your panel has superseded the previous PDF put out by the manufacturer and you can't find it in an older version. It's just a nightmare. So this is pretty basic stuff, really. Come on. So an installer flips that up with his pliers, obviously not in the back box section, but in the return area that would be on a normal panel, and he just lays them in, bolts them down. As I said, perfectly safe, perfectly fast, great for quality assurance and speed and cost effectiveness and competitiveness in the industry. Perfect. And as you can see with my left-handed writing, I've also thought of the size of a panel that should be incentivized. Here we have a 980 wide panel plus a 20mm mid clamp. For some reason they make them 17 just to make math harder. You want to save that 2 cents on aluminium and make it 17mm instead of 20mm. It's pathetic. The cost, that's another thing. The cost that goes into just trying to save a few cents on a part means that my installation time is increased, especially with earth shims. And the length of the bolt into the channel of a rack, it's just long enough to catch the adapter in the channel, and if you unscrew that, the adapter will fall in the channel and you can't get it again because the bolt's too short. If it was just 5mm longer, you could remove a panel in the middle of a string, middle of a row, and those adapters would fall into the channel and you'd be able to pick them up again if the bolt was 5mm longer. Oh, there's about 5 cents extra on the job to save you about, I don't know, a nightmare. How about that? So on and so. The whole industry is like that. It's just all just fitting square pegs into round holes and then blaming the installer. And I've cracked it. I'm out of here. Look at this mess. Terrible. So that's another thing. What about, so that's the width sorted out, right? Because that's a nice round number. So I can cut the rail on the ground and save on costs too, because they could all be modular lengths and so on and so forth. Very easy to deal with. Not little tiny bits of rail bolted onto the end with a joiner hanging past the last foot or tile bracket. That's what happens when things are not modular. Modular is another big word you should be using. Modular, modular, modular. Speaking of which, what about the length? Well, we have typical batten distances on a tile roof in Australia. We've already talked about the tin roof. You'd have a shorter panel, obviously, or greater cantilever zone to make sure it can bridge that 800mm gap. And because panels are getting long now, like a 1750mm panel or an 1850mm panel, where do you think the cantilever is? 800mm apart? No, it isn't. So let's say we got 5 tiles. That would, a 5 tile span, a typical panel. There's 5 roof tiles, by the way. Now a panel, to fit that perfectly, would be approximately 1750mm long. So you'd incentivize panels that are for tile roofs, for example, 1750, right? just to make life easy on the cantilever as well, and so on and so forth. Just stuff that's just common sense. No one thinks of this. You know why? Because I'm the guy on the roof who's dealing with this, doing twister on the roof. I can see it very, very clearly. An engineer doesn't. He never gets feedback either. Or who wants to listen to an installer? Stuff him. He's just the bottom feeder. Another thing with the flexible design here is that you don't need electrical workers to install the panels. They can do the racking. They can put the panels down because none of the panels would be connected in various arrangements, up to you. And you can come back later and just have one end plugged in and then just plug the other end in, go along the row, make sure it's accessible, which it should be because you've got four corners to work with. And that way you can do legal work on the roof with unlicensed workers, as long as they've got the working at heights.
And while we're at it, I don't know why we have to upload one document at a time and watch that stupid thing go scrolling around on the attachments to, say, ESV Connect or any other bloody portal. Makes it easy for the administrators in their staff, but it makes it horrific work for the installer. It's like the banks. The banks will employ one person to save money to ensure that there's a queue there that 20 people are standing in, wasting 20 people's time. 20 people's time. Put an hourly rate on that. You see what I'm saying? So what you should be doing is putting a Dropbox somewhere, so every job I can drop all of the photos. This is just one job. Right, let's have a look. There's the wire in the roof there. There's a bit of conduit. What else we got? We need a photo of our earth that's been spray painted. Now, here's a bit of a dribble from the spray paint, as you can see. Now, I can do this on site and upload it later. I don't even have to be there when I'm uploading. I just have to hit the computer and go upload and walk away. I don't need to sit there and then wait for one picture to upload and then another and then another. And look, you guys, you don't know it. You're just completely selfish to the point that you don't have any consideration whatsoever what it's like to be on the receiving end. You don't know how much money you've cost me. Just with some basic respect. Just put a damn cloud, I can upload it as I said, and walk away in 2 minutes. No, I've got to take 2 hours. Thank you. Okay, I've got a certificate of electrical safety open here at the moment at drag and drop files here. So I've got a folder with everything in it, hundreds of pages I guess, and 3 photos. I've nailed it down to I think 19 megabytes. Let's drop that there, and nothing really happened, did it? Okay, nothing really happened. Okie dokes. Let's go grab some photos, huh? I'm going to grab some serial numbers of panels. I'm going to try and upload 4 at a time. I've got to wait here, by the way. I can't just upload it. I'm having food. So this seems to be working. But it means I've got to stay here for ages. On the other hand, if I was to, say, upload this to Mega, which I did, it should be independent of this certificate. Upload the certificate and the attachments should be done adjacent to it. So I don't have to sit there waiting for it to upload. This upload here, depending on your internet connection, could take 20 minutes. Say this many photos. I don't know, it depends on the time of the day. You know how it is. So if I could just put a folder there, like I have here. This is a public address, doesn't matter, it's a park, 58 Selkirk Avenue, Wanturna, so I don't care if you see that address, but that's just a folder. I dropped it in my Mega Dropbox And that was it. I didn't have to wait around until it was finished before I could say click submit or something. It was just there. Here's another one. Check out this DC isolator in this Fronius inverter. It's not in the manual. It doesn't tell me with a model number. It doesn't tell me if it's ERAC listed or not. I've got to go hunt that information myself. I could just take it from the manual and insert it into my schematic and equipment list in 2 seconds. But no, let's go on an epic journey together, shall we? First of all, we're going to bark up the wrong tree at the EESS, the Electrical Equipment Safety System, which is related to ERAC, where this register is. Good luck finding that register. So once you've found that register, you'll end up here, and you'll get these boxes that you need to have the clairvoyance to know what to put in there. Let's say trade name. I've got some stuff in there from earlier, but let's say I go Fronius and I go Primo. Let's see what happened. This could have been filled in straight out of the manual already. Oh, 0 results. Look at that. I've got to try another search keyword. I don't know how many times it'll take you to get the right keyword, but apparently the one that works is just the trade name in the top there. Maybe I'll put 8.2.1 down there. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But anyway, let's just go all in. So I've got 18 here. Now, I found a list of stuff here. Here's a Fronius. I've got to go through here. It's not that isolator. No, let's go back a step. You know what? I'll try that. What is it? I'll try part of the model number. 8.2.1 perhaps. Maybe that'll do it. Maybe we can refine this instead of going through each one of these individually in order to find the model that has that particular isolator switch. No, didn't work. No, this database is not really working. So I'm going back to Fronius again. I hope you're enjoying this journey together with me. I hope you've got not better things to do. You've just got so much free time on your hands that you can watch me go through this process. What do we got? Simos. Okay, we want to get out of there. I don't know where it is. Look, I went through this. I went down this rabbit hole. There's the Simo 10.10 and the blah, blah, blah. These ones are old school. I remember coming across these, some old inverters from way back. What is this one? I don't know. Oh, IG plus, yeah, way back. Yeah, why not just put the inverter in a different section of the, instead of up here now, where I'm looking for an inverter and don't know that it's listed here. Great. So it's got, anyway. What else we got? I don't know where this was. I don't know where this damn Primo is. Just chanced across it. Did I? No. There it is. The Fronius 8.2-1. Oh, it's a -1. See, it's my fault. It's all my fault because I didn't have a photographic memory. Let's see what happens here. Let's go. Let's have a look at that. See if it comes up. No. Anyway, so here's a similarly dicky search engine on the Clean Energy Council website. You get this basically, so you wouldn't even know it's there unless someone told you. But if you scroll to the right, eventually you'll get to the EESS, barking up the wrong tree listing there. Just punch in ERAC register or something. You might be closer to finding those websites I was in earlier. I put a Toro in recently. I swear back a few months ago when I was looking at these figures in this CEC list, it was a yes. So now they've changed it because they can't even cross-reference themselves. Things are so convoluted. So I've got to go back, put some isolator switches on one of these Toros, and let's have a look at a manual, shall we? Here's a Fronius manual. Let's punch in a keyword and see what we get. EESS. No, don't get in nothing there. How about ERAC? Well, we do have some, what word is that? I don't know, Spanish or something. We got ERAC in interactive. There you go. So we don't have it in the manual, installation manual, because, following these installation instructions is just, and putting it here, a listing here, ERAC or something, is just too hard to make the manufacturers do. It's much better for me to open up a laptop down the side of a house somewhere, log into one of these dicky sites and try and find it, if I'm lucky, before I proceed any further. Just to add to the length of time that I have to do the job. Speaking of which, here's an installation I did. The cover's off here. I've got some earths there, didn't I? Down the wall there. You don't want to try and get these earths across from DC to AC. Believe me, they're not even making multi-component enclosures for DC and AC switches together with a partition down the middle. I'll show you one of them actually. This isn't mine, thankfully, but someone had a crack at trying to follow all of the regulations. They said, oh, you're not allowed to have this cable more than 300 mil. Oh, you got to have bottom entries on everything. Oh, you got to get the earth across to the AC isolator without penetrating the side of these isolator boxes. Look, you can do it a lot easier, but do they make the manufacturers make a product to do it, or do they force an electrician to do this? Here's an example of a multi-pole, or multi-gang, I should say, enclosure with distinct partitions. If I had a DC isolator there, I could throw an earth through a little hole in there without compromising the IP rating, the waterproof rating, into an AC switch here. And those rear entries could come in handy. Here's another one. This one here, they're worried about water getting in the conduit, so I could put a drain plug there, punch through the back of the wall there without any spaghetti conduit now, and go straight up into the DC isolator enclosure here. And again, put those partitions back in there to separate AC from DC, slot an earth through there into the AC, back down, back out through the wall again. All you'll see is this box on the wall, no messy conduit, nothing, and another drain plug in there if you want. So anyway, now through experience, I knew that Solus had ERAC listed DC isolators, but they were single phase inverters, and so I just assumed that the three phase did too, because as you can see, it's quite an arduous expedition to find this information. So I've gone and plonked it on the wall, 90% confident that I don't need to add external isolators, as in the dog's breakfast picture over here, because it's an ERAC listed isolator. But turns out, no. Either make them all bloody ERAC listed or not, or at least put it in the bloody manual. This installation is out at Sale, Victoria, over 2 hours drive away. Oh, my bad. I didn't go down a rabbit hole. I didn't spend 2 days of research and development on the project before I went out there. I just went out there because, you know what? That's what you should be doing. You should be going out there, open the box, put it on the wall. You should be open the instructions. Is it ERAC listed or not? Yes or no? Tell me, come on. That's it. So I've taken a shortcut by not going down that rabbit hole I just showed you, and now I'm up shit creek, because that's how disjointed and sporadic the information is, and it's a disaster. So here's what the electrical inspectors in Victoria have told to do. Look at this one. A plan of panels installed on the roof, numbered and with earth's test sheet provided for each individual panel. And then, so one, you've got to draw this thing, and then you've got to cross-reference. So here it is. I've got to get on the roof, take these measurements, which is fair enough. You could do it with the inspector. If they want to get on the roof, I could be up there on it with a lead, throwing it down, go from one panel to panel while he affirms the readings, and then he can safely sign it off. But not only do I have to do that, then I have to draw a plan of get a photo or drone or something. If it doesn't exist on Google, I've got to pay a lot of money for, say, near maps, or fly a drone without a permit, or because Google sometimes has old pictures of the house before it was built. I've seen house. I've gone on Google Maps. It's not even the same house. It's been demolished, rebuilt. For 8-year-old pictures and whatnot. So you got to somehow get a rooftop picture, and then you've got to find an application and start drawing modules all over this roof, then lines and whatnot, and then put numbers on these panels, and then cross-reference those panels with numbers on them to this document here to put readings in it. Now, somehow that's verification that I've done the right thing and tested the earth on all of the modules. No, it's just a verification that I can fill in this form with fabricated figures that I didn't even bother to test. That's all that's good. This idea that you can audit from a remote location and then at every point making it as easy as possible for themselves and putting extra burden on the installers is the mindset. It just makes my job more lengthy, so I'm more tempted to take compromises on actually doing the job. So this is just going to result in even more fabricated nonsense. The same lies and bullshit that people have signed off on over the last 10 years with terrible quality assurance. Most of them have left the industry because they can't get the jobs across the line with the inspectors. I can get the job across the line with the inspectors regarding quality assurance on the job, but this documentation here, no, I can't get this across the line. I've got to invest too much time to do it right. The money isn't in there. They got absolutely no consideration for this hoop that I've got to jump through that doesn't do anything. You can't verify unverified test results by signing a form. Plain and simple. So what's wrong with me uploading photos of just every aspect? I probably have about 40, 50 photos of every job I do. I keep them myself anyway. Because if I am hit with any claims like a leaky roof, I've had that claim before. I go to the look at my photos and say, hold on, that's the other array that I never installed. That installer's nicked off, and now you want me to pay for it by pretending it was me that leaked the roof. I can see those tile brackets aren't the same ones I put in. I've got photographic records. So and I could just upload them to a cloud in a portal, universally accessible by the Clean Energy Council, Energy Safe Victoria, Solar Victoria, Clean Energy Regulator. Up they goes. Photos of the panels with serial numbers, photos of me on the roof, the whole lot. One big file, upload. Could just walk away while it's uploading because I can just paste the folder there and just do a normal bloody certificate of electrical safety without any of this nonsense. But they don't think like that. They only think in terms of punishing, not servicing. You're supposed to be servicing. Sack yourself. You're all useless. Got to go. While I'm on a roll, I could go on all day about all of these stupid mechanisms that administration has set up. Completely incompetent. Now this here is the end of a bicycle seat. As you can see, it says the minimum insert there. Right? I think I mentioned this earlier in the video. That tells me how far I can go before I have to clamp it. Otherwise, if I bring the seat up too high, it won't be stable. It could bend the frame. It could fall out. It could cause injury. That's pretty basic stuff, isn't it? Having that stamped on the side. But no, what happens in solar? I'll tell you what happens in solar. Here's a module. Well, a manufacturer rather, of a module I put in recently. I found this document, very hard to find online somewhere. I probably downloaded the wrong one because they always get updated when new models come out. Here's all the new models. This is 41 pages long. So to find out where the cantilever, imagine if you had to do this with a bicycle seat. Okay, I bought a new bicycle seat. Nothing's marked on the shaft. Let me work out how far in I can put it before I hurt myself. Because we all know what happens if you don't have a bicycle seat on a bicycle. You know, it's going to hurt, right? So you download this 41-page document that you managed to find. Okay, and you go through all of the pages looking for the detail you need. You could read the whole document, because if you missed some minor detail, it's your fault. You didn't read the whole thing, right? So eventually you get down to somewhere like, I don't know what this is, bolt, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm going to make you watch this stuff. We'll get there with, oh, here we go. We've got some insulation fixing points. Oh, what are the measurements? Oh, we don't have measurements. Now I've got a cross-reference with the panels. My model number has to be in here and somewhere, and then it gives me L1. I've got a lot of cross-referencing to do. What's this one? Now I've got to decipher the difference between that and whatever this is. I think this is ground mount, perhaps, possibly. I don't know. Maybe we'll look more into it. I've got 10 more pages to go. And somewhere in here I can work out the cantilever of my particular model, do some maths according to that chart. And here's some more maths to do just to work out how, and let's apply this to a bicycle seat just to mock it. Okay, let's do some maths now to find out how far I can insert the bicycle seat into the bicycle. This is one of the many things you have to look up on the job, and you just spend a lot of time doing it. Once you've found out how far your cantilever is, then you go and do it. But now I have to go and revisit that, not only look it up again, but also publish it in a publication package. Why don't you just stamp the damn thing on the side of the panel? This is what I'm... Where's the Clean Energy Regulator, Clean Energy Council incentivising manufacturers to do simple things like this? No, they don't exist. It all just goes on to the installer. So here we are at a portal. And I've already been through the arduous task of answering all the questions. And this portal is to find out how many feet that I need, or what the span between feet will be on the roof that I installed. Now I've been through this, I've punched in the whereabouts more or less, and the wind region, and it's come up at 41 to 43 metres a second apparently. Maximum wind loading I would assume, and I've picked the terrain category, all this complicated stuff, corrosive sensitivity. It took a long time. Then I had to dig up a PDF. Here we go, cross-referencing again. PDF of the panel to punch in all of these details here, and then continue. Then I had to pick the roof type, and it doesn't even have a picture of the roof that I want because it's neither of these two, but oh well, let's go to the closest one there, and continue. And then it was portrait, and this particular arrangement here, this took a long time to cross-reference and stick everything in. It won't even give me the arrangement because, well, I've got various, I don't have just multiples of rows of 5. It says here 6 rows of 5 panel per row and 1 row of 2 panels. No, that's not my arrangement. You can't expect to come up with every possible arrangement like on a chessboard. And not only that, I should be going through this process another 2 times, I think, because I've got landscape modules as well as portrait modules, and the roofs are different. Anyway, with this stupid app, just what should be done is you get enough tile brackets or tin feet to do any arrangement in, and treat the whole roof like an edge zone up to 10 meters. So you can do single story houses, you can do 2-story houses, you can do it any it's near the sea where it's windier, what have you, it doesn't matter. I guess the terrain type, maybe the terrain type under 10 meters universally, because the terrain can make a difference, I guess. If you're up against the sea versus in suburbia, as 90% of the work is, maybe then you could have 2 different schedules, but not too many. One size fits all as much as possible, because at the end of this, I know that my feet spacing is going to be 1200 millimeters, because I've had to punch in back here the rafter to rafter distance. There it is, 600 mil, and I know it's not going to be 1800 mil. I know it's not going to be 600 mil. I know it's going to be 1200 mil. And it even says here, maximum allowable span, 1200 mil. There it is. And this is a quote, so I've got to fill in all these useless details just to get to the end of it, and just to get that 1200 mil. And maximum cantilever, that's past the last bracket, 480. Why isn't this just, as I said, you could probably make about 3 or 4 certificates that could cover just about 99% of the situations, rather than putting yourself through this hell. And additionally, so what's with the edge zone? If you take out all the edge zone, you've only got enough room for 3 panels in the middle of the roof. If that, and that's if you're lucky. Well, just treat everything like an edge zone. Look at this. This is like a few years ago. Schleder didn't have that portal. They had this. What are you supposed to do with this? Jeez, talk about inefficiency. Like, by the time I spend calculating from something like this, put the hourly rate on that, I could have put in another 6 bloody tile brackets. Jeez. I've got to attach a certificate, because this is backward tech. We go to the shop, we buy something, the computer prints out a receipt, and then I'm supposed to go back and put it back into the computer again with a scanner for my bookkeeping, for example. This is backward thinking, where you're using modern technology to perform tasks pre-modern technology. Morons. Anyway, I've got to attach a certificate. The other one was a quote. It wasn't a certificate. This is engineering parameters. I'm going to have to attach this. And good luck to the inspector. Good luck to you, mate. So here we are in Australian Standards 3000 with a simplified protective device table here, right? And then further down it's got simplified protective device again. Further down, voltage drop, simplified method. This is if you want a figure that may not be as refined, so you might not be able to squeeze as much out of the cables as you would if you went into a more detailed table from a different standard, AS 3008.1 I think, but it'll get you by. And you can do the same with engineering, and let's say you do a certificate of electrical safety. You want to, so you can pre-fill what you're going to do. You don't have to sign off straight away, and punch in the model number of the panel, cantilevers there. Punch in the racking, automatically there's your spacing for your rafters or your tin feet. Automatically done. All it has to do is cross-reference a database. A database that's universal to the Clean Energy Council, Clean Energy Regulator, Energy Safe Victoria, or any other administration department. Saves a lot of time. Just have a simplified version, and if it's not going to fit the bill, then you can go look at more detailed information. Yeah, I forgot I didn't mention that model number in the schematic. I guess I could put it here, down the bottom. Let's just paste that there for now. Okay, I've got 3 lines I can put information. I'm going with make and model, export limit, and last of all, if I can just zoom in, feed in point, location. I'm going to change that to location. I'll go with data validity. That'll do. Okay. So now I've dropped down there. Yeah, that's nice. I've got it working again. All right, great. I've just modified my spreadsheet. This is, I don't know any other trade where you got to go to this length. Okay, there it is. I've modified things a bit to fit it all in. So I'm just going to save that, and I'm going to grab everything I want from about here through to there. I'm going to file, I'm going to export it as a PDF. So here it is, the schematic that I've got to draw. I don't have a problem with that. I've got it all worked out in the spreadsheet. All the equipment there, and so on and so forth, ready to upload to the Energy Safe Victoria website. Here's a site map, trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, put it all in one document. Here's those earth readings. I didn't use that stupid ledger. And can I ask, how do you know these are verified? I actually did them, but I could have got someone on Fiverr to fabricate the whole lot. I don't know why doing all of this administration somehow verifies that the tests have been done and quality assurance is assured. The unassurable quality assurance and the unverified verification process. What a load of nonsense. Just a whole lot of documentation that doesn't do anything. So I'll give you an update of what just happened. I hit submit for this certificate of electrical safety to assign an inspector, but a pink header came up telling me something went wrong, couldn't do it, you've been banned from this action or something. So I went back a step and I just checked things again, and all the details were there. And I went to this area here, and maybe the previous certificate that got cancelled had the wrong number or something. So I put that back in there, cut and paste again from the old certificate, and hit submit because all of the details were in there. And then I realized, hold on, for some reason it deleted this section here. I had all the test results in there from my tests, and now there's no results for anything. If you go back to this section of the video, you'll see hazardous to area testing, high voltage testing, and medical installation testing. These are not relevant to solar installation, but you'll see this box here is open where I inserted results, and you'll see just the bottom of the blue dot for pass. So that's evidence that I did fill in this section, and well, now those results are all gone. So, probably you can't modify this now. I've hit submit, it's deleted. I can't go back and edit it at all. I'll have to assign an inspector. He might have to reject it again because he's been told to, because I didn't get these. They're all filled in. This is exactly what I'm talking about, and it's just reaffirmed that I'm making the right decision to get out of solar. So once I finish with the three-peat process of this certificate of electrical safety and crawl out of that rabbit hole, I've got to go down another one, which is just as time consuming as the one I just crawled out of. This is another entity to get the rebates. It's just as arduous as what I just showed you. It's just going to go on and on and on. And I am literally telling you that the time I'm putting into this is just as long as it takes me to put the bloody system on the roof. And that is not an exaggeration. And this is why I'm leaving solar. Look at all these boxes and things I've got to fill in. None of these portals or entities are integrated. I've got to fill in exactly the same details once again. Here we go, installation date, for example. That was the 16th of September. And over, look, you get what I'm talking about. And just before I close, I want to say that there's no point in getting administration staff to do it. As I said, they've got administration staff for the retailer, they've got administration staff for the private entity that trades the rebates, and then you've got administration staff in the Clean Energy Regulator, the Energy Safe Victor, all processing exactly the same documentation that has to be done by me, because an administrator doesn't know what the open circuit voltage is here. They don't know what the installation date is. All of this information has to come from me. So not only do I have to do the installation, but I also have to do the administration for the administrators. So what are the staff doing? They're just ringing me up and hassling me all the time. Can you give me this? Can you give me that? No, I can't. I'm gone.